to Core. My name is Kat Thomas, and today I'll be going through a very popular asana or pose called the downward facing dog or Ah-doh MOO-kuh Svanasana. So this pose is really a beautiful lengthening, strengthening, all around just great movement that can help you cool down, stretch out, and strengthen all at the same time. It's kind of the Goldilocks of a lot of yoga poses. But I realized that I still need to work on it and still need to adjust certain things and make sure that my alignments are on so I can perform for my own body and breath at its highest level. And I wanted to share that since it challenges and inspires me. So let's start with the breath. I'm going to suggest that we go through and use our Ujjayi breath throughout the pose. And that way we can really control the breath itself and the flow of the movement of our heartbeat, our blood, and our oxygen by slowing it down through that intense and powerful breath happening completely within our body. And then, as with all of the poses that we are on our hands, I want you to make sure that you kind of worked your wrists and your hands out before doing anything. And my partner here at Core, Jessica Wah, if you subscribe and find her channel at JWAH Fitness, that's JWAUGH Fitness, she's got a nice in-depth way to really strengthen and give those wrists and hands a workout before you do anything, whether it's using the remote to watch TV during these times, be on the computer most of the day, whatever it is you're doing, or just give a little love to them. Another thing that I want to make sure that we understand, when we are facing the mat, hands are flat on the mat, fingertips are spread, we want to make sure that we're protracting and pushing off from the hands. So you can see this is me retracting. You'll see my shoulder blades are trying to kiss one another. And this is protracting, and they're spreading across. So you're really giving the body, the shoulders, and the neck a lot of extra love and support as opposed to giving a little extra stress. And there are definitely a lot of different moves and moments where you'll want to retract, but in downward facing dog, this is not a moment for that. You want to protract. So hands flat, fingertips spread and protract using an Ujjayi breath. And I always like to start everything with a few breaths just to get myself grounded in. I'm going to bring my feet to shoulders distance apart. So shoulders distance to me is 3/5 in a row, where hips distance would just be my 2/5. I'm going to ground them in, really feel the connection on all four corners. I'm going to inhale, reach the arms up and overhead, and exhale, release. And let's do another 2 rounds of that. Inhale. And exhale, release the arms. So let's breathe in together here, draw the navel in. And we're going to swan dive these arms down so you can have a bend in the knees. Slowly bring those arms down. Let the arms and the head drop. Now, if you're somebody that wants to use your blocks, go ahead and have them handy each time. If you want to let the arms just float down, go ahead. You can have a bend in the knees. So from here, whether you're using your blocks or just the floor as your surface, you want to place the hands down. Keep that head dropped. My head's going to come up a few times just to give extra guidance. Stretch those fingers out as wide as you can. From here, we have a tendency to roll the elbows out. You want to roll the elbows in towards the body, and naturally you can feel the shoulder blades already protracted. So let's try that a few times. Roll the elbows out and then roll them in. All right, keep them rolled in. Toes are facing the wrists. Now let's start by bending the knees. And naturally now, your torso, your heart center, your core is resting gently on that, on the thighs. And then inhale, straighten the legs. So let's just do this a few times, see how it feels. And come back to standing. So let's walk the feet out a little further now. Keep them shoulders distance. And now you're going to start to feel the hands maybe start to try and lift and curl. Keep them flat, keep the head dropped, keep those elbows rolling in towards one another, and really push off from the front of the hands. From here, let's once again bend the knees, drop the heart center, resting on the thighs, and straighten the legs. If your heels aren't touching, don't you worry. Let's walk the feet out now a little further. We're becoming now a wider upside down V. So remember, press off from the hands, roll the elbows in, drop the head. Now really engage the core. So draw that navel like you want to push it to the back of the lower spine. Bend the knees in and push off from the hands. Bring that heart center or your torso just on top of the thighs. And then exhale, drop those heels down. So now you're set up for your proper, successful downward facing dog. If you want to extend, you can either walk the hands out further in front of you, make sure they land flat, or you can always walk the feet back. Or if you want to try and get a little deeper of a stretch, you can bring the feet in slightly, make sure you really push back from the hands. Don't worry about those heels coming down. Worry about pushing off from the hands, stretching yourself back, sending those hips to the ceiling, and feeling a nice straight line in the spine all the way through the crown of the head. Your crown of the head is dropped, navel's drawn in, feeling the breath. Using that Ujjayi breath. And from here, if you want to walk the dog, you can just start pedaling the knees in, slow and powerful. And you can start reaching the gaze up and under those opposite arms, feeling a nice open stretch through the rib cages, adding a little light and energy to be able to pass through with a little more ease. One breath for each movement. So come back to center, really push off from those hands, drop that head, roll the elbows in, draw the navel up, take a deep breath, and exhale back through the nose. So coming out of this is just as important. So we're going to inhale, slowly reach the gaze forward, come up on the tippy toes. Start to bring the heart center forward, keep those hands flat. Drop one knee, drop the other knee, and rock the body back to Balasana or your child's pose. So you want to smooth out the spine as you go through. Then inhale, come back to tabletop, cross at the ankles, and roll back over to your Sukhasana or easy seated posture. And let's finish as we started by joining me in 3 breaths. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. Now palms come together, draw them down to your heart center. Gaze upon the fingertips. Again, breathe deep. And exhale, release. Draw it down to your heart center. One more time through. And exhale, release, gaze upon the fingertips, drop those shoulder blades. Give yourself thanks and praise for joining today. Again, this is Core. My name is Kat Thomas. Namaste.